Charles Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. Ryan took the trip from Arkansas to New Jersey to get the audio upgraded on his Road Glide. So he had audio done by another shop previously. This happened at the very beginning of COVID. They actually had his bike for a year. They told him that they couldn't get parts for it, and it was a complete disaster when he went to pick up the bike. They were supposed to meet him halfway, and they didn't. Then he ended up getting the bike, and it sounded terrible. He wasn't happy with it. He just cut his losses, took the bike home. So he had it for a while, just couldn't take it anymore, and decided to take the trip to see us. It was awesome. He made a family trip out of it. He came out with his wife and his kids. He hung out in New Jersey with us for a week. Went sightseeing in New York City, and we had a good time. We had lunch together, hung out with his family, really awesome family. I was glad I got to meet them, and we put the bike together for him. So they had a Rockford DSR1 DSP, two sound digital 400.4s in the fairing. They cut the speaker pod to install the amp. I have no idea why, when there's plenty of room in this fairing. Running a set of DS18 6.5 in the fairing and DS18 6 mines in the lids. We took everything out, started over. We flashed the radio, went with the NVS Audio T harness for the DSP, HCAD mini DSP. We used Dubiee bass knob, sound digital 1600.1, sound digital evox 2800.4. So it's our stage 3 high power. We did cicada CH in the upper and lower fairing, upgraded the battery to a Braille lithium battery, did some Hertz SX165 in the Torpack pods, some Hertz 690 Neo in the lids, and some Hertz 200L 8-inch mid-bass drivers in the saddlebags. We were able to get all the amplifiers in the fairing neatly bolted down. We repaired the speaker pods, so there's no giant holes and air leaks, so now he gets way better mid-bass response. You're not going to get really good mid-bass if you cut giant holes in the pod and leave them open. It's just simple math. So we fixed all that up. When we got into the fairing, they were running everything off one 8-gauge aluminum power wire that was split into two 8 gauges, but I guess they didn't have the proper distribution block, so they had 2 fuses on the power line and then 2 fuses on the ground line, and everything was in the fairing. So if he did blow a fuse, he'd have to pull the fairing to replace it, and he'd have to figure it out if it was on the positive side or the negative side. Really, really weird, really, really confusing, but we stripped everything out, moved the fuse block to the brake side cover, did a 0-gauge run from the battery to the fuse block, and then we did a 4-gauge run to the 1600.1 and 8-gauge run to the 800.4. So now the battery has plenty of current, everything's oxygen-free copper wiring. The wiring's perfect under the fairing now, everything's cut and play. Nothing's cut, everything's plug and play. So they cut the factory harnesses. We actually repaired the factory harnesses, installed factory connectors. So now the speaker pods connect and disconnect like factory once again. Okay, we got this bike in from Arkansas. We got to do a wiring rescue, and we're going to do a NVS Audio Stage 3 high power. First problem is, why did they cut the pod so big, and then they didn't even seal it back up with sound deadener? That's ridiculous. I don't know what happened there. So they couldn't make the 400 fit, so they cut a big ass hole in the side of the pod and just jammed the amplifier in there. They're using the world's thinnest speaker wire. You see the power wire hanging out. Of course, it's aluminum power wire. I don't know why, but there's 2 different generations of amplifiers in here. Here's the older 400.4, just thrown in there. And that's the newer 400.4. As soon as you open the lid, wires fall off. Wire's not taped down at all. They just drilled a random hole and have the wire hanging out. Of course, the radio's not flashed. But we're going to pull it all out, start over, and make it right. So I don't like putting fuse blocks in the fairing because they're not accessible. But Here we have 8 gauge in, 8 gauge out, no problem. If they had used a T-harness, and they make a T-harness for the Rockford DSP, they wouldn't have had to jump power into the distribution block. But that's not the part I'm upset about. Look what they did for the ground. The ground has fuses in it too.
No way.
So now, if you blow the fuse, is it on the power side? Is it on the ground side? And how are you going to reach it? Like, how are you going to reach it to change it all the way down there? That doesn't make sense. Fuse grounds. Nice.
So don't let me steal your life. Don't let me break your smile. On the other side, you'll see all the way back from me. It's a revolution. Make it out tonight. It's a revolution. The monsters in my head are scared of love. Falling people, listen up. It's never too late to change your life. So don't let them steal your life. Don't let them break your stride. There is light on the other side. You'll see all the raindrops follow me. It's a revolution. Make it out tonight. It's a revolution.
A quick 25 mil come up so I can knock off big 99 Seville. Got to take me by 25 yellow bones on. Doing bad to make them 25 phone home. Call daddy, tell him 25 got to go. DMD them put it down, 25 out the door. Hitting the highway doing 25 shows. 25 limos slamming 25 doors. Representing.
New shit come without a top. Once I'm on, I ain't never gonna stop. Bitch, I'm on, I ain't never gonna stop. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Hey, came in the game getting money. Flip chicks, whip, get money. Niggas get to playing with the money. Click bang for the money, shit change over money. They love to see a nigga on the bottom. Catch a coming, gotta keep it on the low. A nigga plug, bless a nigga with a hoe. Wanna break the bitch down in the 36 hoes. Look at here, bitch, I'm A-OK. Shawty won't fuck with me. Stripping, get a chicken and baby, she gon' hit my line. We ain't gon' waste no time. She sucking and we fucking like she need me. But she make a bankroll easy. room from the TV. We getting it on, then I'm gone. It's the type of shit that a nigga be on. Too much on my mind right now. I'm on the grind right now. Looking for me, sucker, then I need to be found right now. I got my 9 right now. Bitch, I blow your mind right now. I ain't fucking around right now. Better get in line right now. Or fuck around and die right now. Hope you understand that. Bitch, I'm the man. Oh, I'm the man. You know I'm the man. Bitch, I'm the man. Oh, I'm the man. You know I'm the man. Bitch, I'm the man. Oh, I'm the man. You know I'm the man. Bitch, I'm the man. Oh, I'm the man. You know I'm the man. Came in the gang getting money. I fuck with all the bitches getting money. But you look playing games with the corny shit. Messing with a nigga, only bought it cause I want it. You good to see a nigga at the bottom. You try to come up, you don't keep it on the go. They like a drug, don't like you to call them hoes. I'm tryna break that booty down.
Please, man. Pretty please with a cherry and top king.
Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. Ryan took the trip from Arkansas to New Jersey to get the audio upgrade on his bike. It was a little bit of a wiring rescue, but he let us rip it all out and start over. We went with a stage 3 high power. Are you completely happy with the way it sounds?
I'm beyond happy. I mean, ecstatic.
Thank you for trusting us, and have a safe ride home.
Will do.